Fox Sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Wisconsin.
And we welcome you from Miller Park, Milwaukee. Got a great crowd filing in. It is game 2 of this series. The Atlanta Braves from the National League East against the Milwaukee Brewers. And the roof is open. It's a beautiful day for baseball. Temperatures in the mid-70s today. Donovan Hand ready to make his first big league start. The 27-year-old ready to do something he's never done before. Gene Segura, he is continuing an all-star season. Hi, everybody. We welcome you from Miller Park. The stage is all set for the Brewers and the Braves in Game 2. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. And Rock, we talk a lot about Gene Segura and his spectacular defense. He's also put up the great numbers offensively, but how about we break down what makes him so good at the plate?
Yeah, yesterday a perfect example of what this kid's able to do at a very young age. You pitch him away, he's going to go that way. On the left, you see Segura in the first inning. A slider off the play. That pitch is about 6 inches off the outside corner. Look at the way he's able to reach out and just punch that ball out into right field. Next time up, a bunt base hit. Now here's the home run, the pitch in. A borderline strike, but when Segura picks his spots, he's able to cover that inside corner, hit it hard. He hit a line drive home run. When you can cover a home plate like that, it's very difficult, number one, to pitch you, and number two, to defend you. That's why he's been so good.
Well, how does he compare with the rest of the National League as far as shortstops? We're talking batting average here first, but you see the top 5 hitters among the shortstops in the National League. Certainly some great defenders. The Braves have one at Andrelton Simmons, but Segura, not only is he performing at an elite level defensively, but his offensive numbers are stellar as well. Tulowitzki currently on the disabled list. Segura's got a great chance to go to the All-Star game. Donovan Hand, we got to talk about him. It's a big one for him today, his first Major League start. Craig and Augie, when we come back, we'll have more on Mr. Hand.
By Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Back at beautiful Miller Park here this afternoon. A gorgeous Saturday afternoon as the Braves and the Brewers are ready to battle. And Donovan Hand finishing his warm-ups, making his way into the Brewer dugout right now, ready for his first big league start. This guy's all about the bullpen. In fact, over the last 4 seasons, he has made 164 appearances. Only 4 of them have been starts. Today will be his 5th, Augie, so this is not his routine right now.
I know, and you look on the outside, he's cool, he's calm, he's collective. On the inside, he's emotional, he's focused, and I'll tell you what, he's really excited. There's nothing more special than standing on that hill in the middle of the diamond. It's your first start in the major leagues. It's very special for Donovan Hand. He gets it today. But I'll tell you what, once he throws that first pitch, it's all about baseball.
And he makes his first start since July 27th, a year ago, when he was with AAA Nashville. He's done very well out of the Brewer bullpen here so far this season. We'll see how far he goes. First pitch, Ben Rock, all on the way next.
And we welcome you back. We're just about ready for today's first pitch. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, Sophia Minard. And we're delighted to have you with us today. And you know Donovan Hand's got some nerves bundled up as he's ready to lead the Brewers out onto the field here at Miller Park. Great crowd today. This is a jersey off their back day here in Milwaukee. The Brewers are going to give away jerseys at the end of the game, sign them, and it goes to a great cause. Terrific charity that the Brewers' wives have organized. There was yesterday's star, Gene Segura. 3 hits yesterday, number of fine defensive plays, and of course a home run in yesterday's game. The Brewers shut out Freddie Gonzalez's Braves 2-0. And for the 10th time this year, the Braves have been shut out. That is very shocking for a first place team. It rarely happens. Freddie's Piggly Wiggly batting order. It's Jordan Schaefer leading off. Got a couple of Schaefers in left field today. Andrelton Simmons, then Jason Hayward. Middle of the order is Freeman, Upton, and McCann. B.J. Upton. Justin has the day off. And then it's Dan Uggla, Chris Johnson, and Tim Hudson rounding it out.
Well, Donovan Hand making his first major league start. 8 games all out of the bullpen, a .338 earned run average. And his defense behind him, very important. Your Menard's defense. Infield should be busy if he's on. Ramirez, Segura, Weeks, and Francisco in the infield. Jonathan Lucroy back behind home plate. It was Maldonado calling the shutout in last night's game.
Larry Vanover will call the balls and strikes this afternoon. Manny Gonzalez, Tony Randazzo, and Brian Gorman on the bases. The crew chief is Brian Gorman over at third base. Just a spectacular day for baseball today, and the way it should be. Got a big crowd filing in. The tailgating scene was epic today. Just a huge billow of clouds from the tailgating as we drove into the ballpark. And the roof is open, and the best of both worlds with the retractable roof on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. So Donovan Hand ready to go to work. He made 7 starts in the Venezuelan Winter League this year. Has not made a start in the Brewers organization since last July when he started for the Nashville Sounds. He made 3 starts last year in 44 games at AAA. And he said he's going to approach it like a relief appearance, and right away, Rock, he starts from the stretch.
Yeah, the only thing he knows. You expect, if all goes well, 60-some pitches for Donovan Hand. Backed up perhaps by Tom Gorzolani. But the sinker, slider, slow curve from Donovan Hand.
Jordan Schaefer getting the call today, spelling Upton. Well, you don't see many pitchers go from the stretch when nobody is on base, but Hand a reliever by trade.
Yeah, high leg kick, a little bit of a hiccup right at the bottom, and that Hand comes through and hides the baseball pretty well.
Quickly 0-2 on Schaefer. Hand is a strike thrower, and that's what got him to the big leagues in the first place. The fact that he could go multiple innings in middle relief and throw strikes. That was at a time when the Brewers bullpen was really struggling, and Hand got the call, and he's made the most of his time so far in the Brewers bullpen as he strikes out Jordan Schaefer. That's a great way to start his day.
Yeah, always important to get your first major league start. You can put a 0 on the board early, get some confidence going. The 2-seam fastball from Donovan started in off the inside corner, and with some late movement caught the edge. And a good start to his day.
Now, infield defense at a premium today. If Donovan Hand is on his game, he'll get a lot of ground balls when he's right. One gone for Andrelton Simmons. Simmons hit leadoff yesterday in the 2-hole today, and he bangs one through for a base hit. Simmons loves to swing early in the count, and he delivers the Braves' first hit.
He's a good fastball hitter. If he gets one he likes early in the count, why not? Lets her go.
And so Jason Hayward will bat. Now the Brewers shut out Atlanta last night 2-0. It was a 2-hitter. Willie Peralta went 7 strong innings, 2 hits, no runs. And Peralta picking up his 5th win of the season. Frankie Rodriguez worked a scoreless 8th. Henderson worked around 2 walks and a scoreless 9th for his 10th save. Hayward swings at the first pitch. Aramis Ramirez in foul territory for out number 2.
Breaking ball got in on his fists. Freddie Gonzalez playing around with his lineup a little bit. It was Hayward in the 2-hole yesterday, and with Justin Upton out of the lineup, he moves Hayward down to number 3. If you keep the Braves in the ballpark, you have a pretty good chance of beating them. They get a lot of home runs. They do not rack up the base hits. And Donovan Hand, so far in 8 appearances out of the bullpen, has not given up a home run.
Here's Freddie Freeman now. Freeman hit 3rd yesterday, was 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Braves lead the league in strikeouts as a team. Statistically, offensively, it does not look like a first place team, but they have terrific pitching, and that's even through a season where Tim Hudson hasn't been at his best. Runner takes off. Lucroy's throw, short hop, and out is the call. Simmons on a great pick and tag by Gene Segura. Caught stealing at second base leaves Freeman in the box. How about this pickup by Segura? Saw his ball club play a terrific game yesterday and try to make it back-to-back wins and win a series against the division-leading Atlanta Braves. Renicki's batting order brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Aoki and Segura combined yesterday for 6 hits. They were 6 for 8 in yesterday's win. Gomez back in the 3-hole. You got Ramirez, Lucroy, and Francisco in the middle with Ricky Weeks, Logan Schaefer, and Donovan Hand rounding it out.
Yeah, one of the best in the business out there in the mound, having a tremendous career. Tim Hudson, 201 victories and 210 losses. Look at the earned run average, outstanding, about 3.5. Having a rough season and a tough luck pitcher this year.
37-year-old Tim Hudson. Only Andy Pettitte has more wins among active pitchers than Hudson, who is now in his 15th year in the big leagues. Pettitte with 250 wins. Roy Halladay's on the disabled list, and Hudson has been able to catch the big right-hander from the Phillies. Nori Aoki, a little dribbler over to second base. Ugla for out number 1. And a lot of ground balls from Tim Hudson as well. Puts a premium on infield defense for the Braves. You see how they line up today. It's courtesy of Menards. You got Logan Schaefer for the Brewers in left. Jordan Schaefer for the Braves in left field. In there for Justin Upton. Now Hudson won his 200th career game against the Nationals back in late April. The wins have just been hard to come by for a pitcher who's done a lot of winning in his career, Rock, including a 20-win season in his second year in the big leagues with the Oakland A's.
He's been pitching well, but has not won a game since May 5th against the Mets, believe it or not. A sinker cut fastball. He'll throw a split-fingered fastball. Now, his month of June has got to be driving him crazy. He's 0-2. He's only given up 4 earned runs in 28 2/3 innings. That's an earned run average of about 1.5 runs, but has not won a game.
Well, Segura takes a called strike 3, and down he goes. Gene Segura, 3rd in the league in hitting coming in, and Hudson makes quick work of it. 2 outs.
And he better go up there swinging against Tim Hudson. He's not going to walk too many. Only 22 walks and a little over 90 innings of work. He's allowed the 9 home runs. Ordinarily, your first strike is the best one to swing at. So look for the Brewers to attack Hudson early.
Carlos Gomez now with 2 away. And he jumps on that first pitch, fouls it off. Donovan Hand had an 8-pitch first inning for the Brewers. And Hudson can get it on the streamline as well. Hudson is having a rough time on the road this year, and an ERA over 6 away from Turner Field.
That's a nice ballpark to pitch in. Pretty fair. Ball doesn't travel all that well. All the humidity in Atlanta. A little bit different today, though. Everything opened up. Nice day here in Milwaukee. You expect the baseball to fly. It was in batting practice.
0-2 to Gomez. This is upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now, Carlos yesterday was 0 for 3. Inserted into the 3 spot in the batting order with Ryan Braun on the disabled list. And Gomez pulls that one foul. Gomez hasn't had too many offers this year. That's been the one part of his game that has kept his batting average high. He comes in batting .315 despite the offer yesterday. But there is some added pressure hitting 3rd in the batting order. Ryan Braun on the disabled list with an injured right thumb, and he's going to be on there for a while. 1-2 pitch. Gomez lines it foul, just foul down the left field line.
And just missed it. Hits and tried to come in on him, and Gomez likes it inside. Carlos Gomez up amongst league leaders in extra base hits this year, 38 of them. All the good numbers for Carlos Gomez. He's only walked 12 times. Still has an on-base percentage over .350.
Another 1-2, and Gomez takes a called strike 3. A fastball surprised him. So a good start for Tim Hudson. Back-to-back Ks, scoreless through 1.
Beautiful day in Milwaukee, and today's time of the game winner, Torpson's Rec Center in Kenosha. I think I said that right. If it's not, it's close. Torpson's, they call the Brewers in the next 24 hours. They get 40 Miller Lite beer pen tickets to a Brewers home game. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
That's what I like about you. You don't just choose the tavern of the game based on the pronunciation. You don't take the easy way out. Freddie Freeman on the first pitch. Skies this one to the shortstop Segura, and there is out number 1 on 1 pitch.
So you're saying that, you know, early start today, Jim's Pub would probably be a legitimate kind of a mail-in,
kind of a Stamp Liquor Society call. But not you. Well, Donovan Hand, 9 pitches thus far to retire the first 4 hitters. Pitch count is of major importance today, more so than it normally is for a starting pitcher, because Donovan Hand is only going to be able to give Renicky around 60 to 70, he hopes.
That's best case scenario. That means he's throwing well.
B.J. Upton, the only Upton in the batting order today for the Braves. Justin getting the day off. B.J. started to turn it around a little bit, had a decent homestand for the Braves in their last homestand against the Giants and the Mets, but still hitting just 178. BJ with just 8 runs batted in the first 2 months of the season. He has 9 in the month of June, including a 2 home run game on Saturday against the Giants back in Atlanta.
They spent a lot of money to get B.J. Upton into Atlanta and has not really been able to perform much yet. And he's a guy that he gets it going. He can carry you for a little while, just like his brother Justin did for Atlanta in the month of April.
2-2 the count on B.J. And a breaking ball swung on and missed. Donovan Hand strikes out Upton for out number 2. That's his second strikeout.
And Donovan Hand looking around saying, I can't believe I just threw that pitch where I threw it, and I can't believe I got a strikeout. That's about as hanger of a curveball as you're going to see, but you know, the speed that he was able to take off was the reason why Upton was out in front.
So bad it was good, as we check in with Sophia with the Donovan Hand plan today from Ron Renicky.
Well, Brian, Ron said he wasn't going to hold Donovan to a strict pitch count, but was more going to monitor the number of stressful pitches. He said these first two would be critical in terms of how easily he could get through them without any stressful situations. So he feels comfortable that Donovan could go, anywhere from 60 to 70. Should he struggle, he'll go to Tom Gorsolani, Brandon Kinsler. They both could provide a couple innings. And one thing for fans to keep an eye on, if you are on K-Rod watch, today could be the day. Jim Henderson has made 3 straight appearances. Ronicki's saying that K-Rod would likely be the closer if it came to a safe situation.
Yeah, get him in there and get number 300. But Donovan Hand is a guy that he doesn't mess around in the strike zone. He's only walked 2 batters in his 8 appearances so far for Milwaukee, so he's not a guy that's going to be trying to be too fine on the corners. He goes right at you. He relies on that good sink on the fastball, and we've already seen the 2 breaking pitches fairly effective today.
27-year-old Alabama native, Town Creek, Alabama. That ball's hit into left field, playable for Schaefer, and that's a 1-2-3 inning for Donovan Hand. Brewers coming up.
The bottom of the second, and fans, don't forget that this July, baseball's greatest stars gather for the biggest event of the summer. The Midsummer Classic returns to New York with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. It's the 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game, live from New York, July 16th, only on Fox. And fans, we certainly want to see, hopefully, multiple Brewers there, so you can head to brewers.com, vote for your favorite Brewers. You have until July 4th to do so.
And you can vote up to 35 times per email account. Well, Ramos Ramirez, the kind of career that he's had, it is surprising how few all-star games he has made, mostly because he always seems to get off to a slow start at the plate. Ramirez starts this one with a base hit up the middle. Well, Tim Hudson on the mound today, and his 201 victories leads us to our Carsoup.com email the booth question. Maddie in Heartland wants to know, will there ever be another 300-game winner?
That's going to be tough. I mean, with the way you have the 5-man rotation, you have the pitch counts, guys aren't getting as many decisions as they used to. Of active pitchers right now, who do you think? Maybe CC Sabathia, but he's a long ways away.
CC Sabathia is 32 years of age. Figure the fact that he's left-handed would keep him around, and
needs about 100 wins, doesn't he? A little over.
Andy Pettitte is the current wins leader among active pitchers, but you have to figure he is close to the end. And with the advent of the 5-man rotation, obviously the specialized bullpens, you're just not seeing as many victories. There aren't as many turns through the pitching rotation for starting pitchers.
You guys aren't in the game long enough to pick up a decision a lot of times.
There is a 300 game winner in the house today, Don Sutton. Boy, he had a great moment in the sun with the Milwaukee Brewers, coming from the Astros 1982 to 1984. And Sutton is in the Hall of Fame, 324 career wins.
Had that knee buckling curveball. I caught Don Sutton here with the Brewers. Had a cutter. A Hall of Famer.
Well, Randy Johnson was the last to do it back in 09. Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, a couple of former Braves did it. Glavine did it as a Met. Hudson is 37. He'll be 38 next month. And he's 99 wins away from 300. That would be tough. And you think about Hudson as one of the great winners over his time. Lucroy bounces to third. Johnson starts a 5-4-3 double play. 2 quick outs with 1 swing of the bat. And you see a lot of those when Hudson is on the mound.
And that sinker down in the strike zone. A lot of ground ball outs. That's why the infield defense very important. When you look at the numbers for Tim Hudson and you go through them before today's start, he has never had a losing season in the big league. Not many can say that.
20 wins with the A's. He's battled some injuries and come back strong. It looked like his career was coming to an end a few years ago. Had Tommy John surgery. Missed most of the 09 season. That was at the end of the 08 season that he needed the surgery, and he came back in 09, and then he had a stellar 2010 campaign and won the National League Comeback Player of the Year in 2010. A 3-time All-Star, Tim Hudson. One ball, one strike on Juan Francisco. And he goes up the ladder with a fastball. Francisco chases one. It's 90 miles an hour, and it looks so hittable. But it just stays up there.
Yeah, with the arsenal of other pitches that he throws, including a splitter. There it is.
And he strikes out Francisco. So Tim Hudson gives up a leadoff single, but a double play and a strikeout. 2 scoreless. Miller Park on a sunny Saturday. Donovan Hand making a spot start today, and joining us here in the booth is Todd Johnson out of the Brewers baseball operations department. And Rock, we always like to catch up with Todd because not only is he very good on the scouting side and knows about the players, but you're the one who's kind of reinvented the virtual scouting. We're going to get into all of it.
Our virtual magnet system, yeah,
Pretty
definitely
cool.
pretty exciting stuff.
He's kind of a techie, Todd. So, and he also fixes our iPads when he's up here, which we like a lot as well.
You got to take that from him.
I don't think I have a choice, do I?
Well, Todd, let's talk about what's going on in the minor leagues a little bit. A bunch of guys are having terrific seasons, and now some pitchers are starting to settle in and performing like their draft status.
Yeah, definitely. We got Taylor Youngman. The last couple of outings are actually he's been really good for the last month or so, even 2 months. 8 of his last 9 starts, he's gone over 6 innings. In 6 of those, he allowed less than 2 runs. He really pounds the bottom of the zone with his sinker and gets a ton of ground ball outs. He's got, when the ball's put in play on him, 60% of the time or more, it's on the ground, which is really good, especially for our ballpark where the ball tends to fly pretty well in the air.
Right.
So,
yeah, a lot of the pitchers in the organization are starting to put things together. I mean, guys that we see in spring training a lot, and they seem to be, developing and putting together some good outings.
Absolutely. You got Johnny Hellweg at Nashville, we traded for last year. He's really been good. He's got 4 straight starts. Pretty good starts, going deep into the game and only giving up a couple runs.
As Douglas strikes out, that's the 3rd strikeout for Donovan Hand. Some of the names that Todd has thrown out there. Johnny Hellwig, along with Ariel Pena, coming with Segura to the Brewers from the Angels, and he's having a stellar month of June. We saw Tyler Thornburg in the big leagues recently, got his first major league win.
Yep.
It's been one of those years for him. He can't seem to pick up a win, but you guys seem like you're pretty pleased with how he's pitching.
Yeah, you know what he's doing? He's still getting a lot of strikeouts. That's kind of his MO. He's a strikeout pitcher. He uses that fastball and the breaking ball, and he's got a really good changeup, which sometimes he's got to make sure he uses that more. Especially up here, I think he gets away from that at times, and should really get back to that. But he's got a great strikeout rate. Almost 25% of the batters he's faced this year he's struck out, which is really solid. He's kind of had some bad luck here and there through the year, so I think he's pitching well. I think it'll even out for him, and he'll start to see some better results on the from the runs allowed and getting wins and that kind of stuff.
It's been kind of an interesting year. I mean, for your minor league system. I mean, the Brewers have been picking some guys out of the minor leagues to fill in. Gindel coming up, and how does that have an effect on what you guys do down in the minor leagues? I mean, is it obvious trickle down where a guy from Double-A all of a sudden now has to go up to Triple-A, or does it work differently?
Yeah, no, you're seeing that definitely. We've got David Goforth just got called up from Brevard County to Huntsville, so he's moving up to fill in up there. Drew Gagnon got called up earlier this year to Double-A as well. So you got guys who are moving up to fill in spots as other guys move up to the big leagues.
Hudson bounces to Donovan Hand, and that's the quickest 3 outs. And you win the award of the baseball operations. Thanks, Todd, for coming on with us.
All right, great. Guys, thanks a lot.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Todd Johnson has been our guest.
The third, and Willie Peralta was outstanding last night in a 2-hit shutout, but he couldn't have done it without some outstanding defensive plays by his Brewers teammates tonight. Asking you, which was the biggest Brewers defensive play? Was it Aramis Ramirez fielding a bunt to get the runner at third, Willie Peralta helping his own cause to get an out at home, or Nori Aoki, a tremendous sliding catch to end the fifth with 2 runners on? So Brewers flashed a little leather last night, BA. We take a look at these gems. This was Ramirez's play early in the game. Again, Peralta helping his own cause, showing some athleticism, getting that out at home. Maldonado hanging in there. And this great catch by Nori Aoki with 2 runners on to preserve the shutout. So Willie Peralta definitely appreciated that defense, BA.
Yes, he did, and he created some of his own magic defensively. Willie Peralta, his best start as a big leaguer, and winning for the second consecutive year against the Atlanta Braves. Tim Hudson back to work. You got a couple of pitchers that are working fast, throwing strikes, and pouring through the batting order as Hudson hits Ricky Weeks. And that's how the bottom of the third inning begins. Brewers have a single from Ramirez. Now Weeks is aboard with a hit by pitch.
Man, that one not even close. And Tim Hudson drilling Ricky. It's only the second time that Hudson has hit a batter this year. And no chance for Ricky to get out of the way of that one on the back of that elbow pad.
Well, thanks to Todd Johnson, we had a very quick half inning. But we were talking between innings about some of the draft picks that are now entered in to the system and are performing well. And he did mention that Garrett Cooper, who is from Auburn, just like Tim Hudson, the War Eagle, he's in Helena, and he's 5 for his first 10 with a couple of home runs. And this kid that we've heard about, Tyrone Taylor, who plays for the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers just up the road in Appleton, he's just 19 years of age, and he looks like he's got a real chance to be a big leaguer at some point. A lot of tools, big on base percentage.
Having a big month of June is Taylor.
Always enjoy catching up with Todd. He's the one that basically reworked the entire scouting system, the virtual scouting and the smart board, and it's a fascinating system. And if you've followed our features on draft day and the quick access scouting on particular amateur players or even players in the Brewers organization, well, that's Todd Johnson's bread and butter. That's what he's brought to the organization, and he is ahead of the curve as far as most organizations when you're talking about technology.
And you need that. I mean, everybody's getting involved in that. The information that's available. It's not just the scouts that are beating the bushes and trying to find players. It's a combination of all of it. And when you hope you bring it all together, you get a good player that's going to help you at some point.
The Brewers have done a nice job. Instead of creating the dividing line, old school versus new school, there's really a good collaboration between the new school, the technology, the stats, going deep into the metrics, and of course you still can't beat eyes on the players and the scouts that are out there. As Logan Schaefer sends that one deep to right, and Hayward is there to make the catch for out number 1. So the first out for Hudson, our charter cable high-speed pitch. Neither Hudson nor Hand will light up the radar gun with the fastball. Hudson topping out at 91 thus far. Hand is hit 92, and Donovan Hand is about ready to have his first major league at bat. Look how shiny his helmet is. That is a brand new helmet. And he squares the bunt, gets it down. That's a good one. That'll advance Ricky Weeks. So he made it look easy, Donovan Hand.
That is not that easy, is it?
All right, Rock, let's talk about Tim Hudson and what makes him effective as we superimposed 2 different pitches on top of each other.
A couple of things. He changes speeds extremely well, and he throws everything with strikes. You see Francisco on the left. See Luke Croy on the right. You can see 2 different pitches. You can see 2 different results. A sinker, and then you see the split finger fastball going down. So everything's either going in on a right-hander or away from a right-hander. Very rarely does he ever throw anything straight. And it's all out of the same arm slot. You really can't pick it up. You don't know when it leaves his hand which way it's going to go.
And that's why he can be so effective with that 91-mile-an-hour fastball. So again, let's just take you through it. The release point is the same. Now watch this. The baseball halfway to the plate is in the same spot, and then it splits. One pitch to the other, the slider to the sinker.
You know, when you talk about trying to pick up something that will, you know, tip a pitch and determine what it's going to be early, you can't do that with Tim Hudson.
Well, that was a great look at why Tim Hudson has been able to be so effective. And it's not just those two pitches. Those are the two that we pulled from last inning, but everything he throws is from the same release arm slot. So you add a curveball into that mix, a split finger fastball to go with the fastball, the changeup. He'll throw a four-seam fastball up in the strike zone.
Cutter, slider. The kitchen sink.
Takes two hands if you're a catcher to call all of those pitches.
You got to drop your glove once in a while. Well, there's not many guys that have had the success of Tim Hudson, and not many can do what we just showed you that he's able to do. Most pitchers are going to do something a little bit different when they throw each pitch.
And as much video scrutiny as there is, video that Todd Johnson has been instrumental in, and there's a lot of opportunities to dissect what pitchers do and those little nuances that you would never see with the naked eye. Big league hitters pick up on it quickly. Three balls and a strike. Got a runner at second. Aoki a chance to drive in a run here. And that's a strike right at the top of the zone. Larry Vanover, a strike calling machine today.
It looked like a late call. Aoki was waiting to hear something, didn't.
According to Fox Tracks, that is.
There it is.
Right there on the top edge of the strike zone. I'm all for it. Call strikes. It promotes offense, believe it or not. Hitters become more aggressive. 3-2 pitch. And Aoki spoils it foul.
But if you're going to do that, you do that the entire game and for both sides, not just because it's Tim Hudson. Not that that was the case. I think Donovan Hand got a high strike called early in the game. Pitchers that have a reputation of not walking batters are going to get, you know, benefit of the doubt in a lot of cases, and Hudson's certainly one of those guys.
Well, 2 gone, 3-2 is the count with Weeks at second base. He's got a big lead, and Aoki spoils one foul.
Umpires are creatures of habit. When they know they have a guy out there that's going to pound the strike zone, continue to throw the ball over the plate, they get used to calling strikes, and that's only natural. And because of that, you're going to get maybe a couple of pitches that, you know, somebody else might not.
Kind of like the days when Tony Gwynn was at the plate, and if it was a borderline pitch and he didn't swing, umpire just assumed it was a ball because Tony Gwynn has a great eye.
Right.
Works both ways. That one's down and in, ball 4. So a rare walk, and now the Brewers with runners at first and second. Well, Bruins baseball this afternoon on Fox Sports Wisconsin is brought to you by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin, by Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your tickets and more, and by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Big crowd, roof open. And the Brewers with an opportunity here. Their best hitter coming up that's in the lineup today, Gene Segura. 2 on, 2 out. Segura struck out looking in the first inning. And he lines one right to Ugla to retire the side. Hit it hard right on the nose, but nothing to show for it. Still scoreless through 3. Along well so far, and we have a celebrity in the booth besides Bill Schroeder. Dan Patrick is here.
Good to be back in Milwaukee.
Yeah, good to have you back in Milwaukee. And you went with a Brewer jersey today, and it looks like you went number 19.
Yep, I went Yount.
Went Yount.
Yeah.
It's great. Great to see you here, and we've got a lot of fun things to talk about with you. So you got your whole crew here, the Danettes.
Yep.
Everybody made it safe and sound?
So far, we haven't done the sausage race. That's the key. You know, I don't know if you go down, they shoot you, you know, like horses, if that happens. So I just hope that we don't have to euthanize any of our Danettes there.
They just put you on the grill.
We haven't had that situation yet, you know. I mean, nobody really falls down. You don't have to worry about that. Unless somebody knocks you down.
Well, now I'm worried about it if you say it doesn't happen.
Unless somebody knocks you down.
Oh, okay. Well, that could be. There's that possibility, the gamesmanship there.
That's an outstanding sausage race coming up today. And now you guys must have a serious end. Besides, you know how many celebrities want to run in the sausage race that get denied? So you must have some pretty good ties. That's impressive.
Wow.
Not everybody gets in the sausage race. That's a real thing going on here. It's not like anybody can just show up.
I will say this. I ran in the race 10 years ago, and I tried to cheat. And I was told specifically that there would be no cheating. No hijinks was the expression that was used. And I told that to the Danettes. They said, guys, you got to take it seriously. So they're stretching. We had a Pilates class earlier this morning.
How do you cheat?
I went past home plate.
Oh, you shortened the track a bit.
I did. I shortened it a little bit.
I got you.
But, no alcohol so far for us. Just water, fruit, and stretching, and we're ready to go.
You didn't load up on carbs getting ready for your big moment?
I did have a brat, and then I thought, well, I'm going to be a brat. It's sort of like if Mike Trout eats fish, is he eating one of his own? Like, it's just a weird, I don't know. So I had a brat.
Well, just to let you know, Dan, we've had trouble with the hot dog this year. He hasn't really shown himself very well. Don't let him beat you.
Well, Jordan Schaefer sends one to the air, and Segura will make the call and catch for out number 1.
The key is you just have to be faster than one guy. It's like when the bear is chasing you in the forest. If you're faster than the slowest guy, the bear eats that guy. So Fritzy is our slowest guy. So I feel pretty confident that I won't finish last.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. And then McLovin is our hot dog. And McLovin is Jewish, so he wanted to know if there's a kosher hot dog. And I said, I don't know. We'll see what we can do.
Yeah, 1 win for hot dog. Bad year.
Pathetic season for the hot dog.
Yeah.
So who do you think's the fastest of the Danettes? Just in your own mind, who do you guys ever get out in the parking lot? Stretch it out a little bit?
Well, Seaton, the youngest, he's run the marathon a couple of times, New York City Marathon. But this is about competitive edge. This is competition. So it's a little bit different here. And this is the big stage. Let's not kid anybody.
Yes, it is.
Anybody can run out in the parking lot. This is in front of, thousands of people, millions of people.
We have 13 cameras that'll be trained on all 5 of you. As Simmons bounces out for out number 2. Well, it's not just about the sausage race, even though it is, and we're going to be certainly recording that. But tell us how you've been and what your summer's been like and some of the big projects you're preparing for.
Got a movie coming out, Grown Ups 2, with Adam Sandler. I play a gym teacher who looks like Larry Bird. I have real short shorts on.
Nice.
That leave nothing to the imagination. And then I'm going to shoot another movie in August with Sandler. So one coming out, and then one I'm shooting in August, and then I do the other stuff. Football Night in America, get ready for that. And I got Winter Olympics in Russia, where I'll be hosting that in February.
Well, how many movies have you been in?
You know what's sad is that you don't like when somebody says this. I don't know.
Right.
Like if you get to a point where I might be double-digit movies, but I don't know. So I've been in a lot. And Sandler's been a friend. So it was basically, he said, I'll put you in a movie. And as long as you keep showing up, I'll keep putting you in a movie. So I keep showing up. It's not like I'm getting rich by it, but the experience is great. And working with Sandler has been great. He's a good friend.
Well, it is interesting, though, and Bob Uecker, of course, we talk to him about it all the time. When you go from playing yourself, because you're a sports celebrity, to now you're into some character acting as well.
I said I cannot be myself. I don't want to be myself. I was myself in Waterboy, and I said, I hate me. Can't I be somebody else? So he said he had me as a cop for about 4 movies.
Jason Hayward looks at one upstairs. Ball at 2 strikes.
You follow baseball, obviously. You Any particular team that you pull for?
I grew up in Cincinnati, so I got, I was exposed to the Big Red Machine. But once I started on SportsCenter, I put my fandom to the side. I didn't think it was fair to be doing the highlights if you're a fan of a certain team. It was a really hard thing to do, but it was the right thing to do, because if I'm a Reds fan and they're playing the Dodgers and I say something about the Dodgers, you're going to go, well, he's a Reds fan. So I put that to the side, and probably the hardest thing I ever did as a sports fan, to say I can't root for anybody anymore when I was doing SportsCenter.
Did people know that you were a Reds fan? I mean, I never knew that, but I mean, that would have an impact on how you did a replay. Or...
Well, I just wanted to be fair to people and their team and be honest with them. So.
Well, that will retire the side. And Dan, we know you got to go. You got a lot of pregame prep here. 6th inning sausage race.
I got a massage coming up here. Believe me, this is
all right. Good luck.
I'm nervous.
Stay on your feet. Don't swap paint. He'll be in Fuego.
Thank you, guys.
Baseball at Intercities, the RBI program, and MLB fans and local RBI leagues can take part in the Season of the Whiff on Twitter all season long to help earn money for their local RBI program. Great program. Basically, Rock, you go to the Brewers Twitter page at Brewers. You use the hashtag Whiff whenever there's a strikeout, and they'll add them up every month. And then there's an $80,000 tag and donations by season's end. It's basically $10,000 a month for the winning city, the winning market. So every time you think about a strikeout or see one, just use the hashtag Whiff at Brewers on Twitter. Carlos Gomez leads off. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gomez. Takes that one inside. Good to have Dan Patrick here. He's a great guy, and just obviously he has made quite a name for himself, and he's putting himself out there, isn't he, with the sausage race?
Yeah, good for him. We'll be keeping an eye on him.
Gomez into center field. Easing back is B.J. Upton for out number 1.
Hey, come out to Miller Park as the Brewers host the Chicago Cubs on Tuesday through Thursday of next week. For tickets, call 414-902-4000 or visit brewers.com. Dale Swaim and the Chicago Cubs coming into town. Former Brewers abound in the coaching staff. Chris Fazio, Rob Deere, Jamie Quirk.
Well, the Cubs won yesterday over the Astros. Brewers and the Cubs tied for the same record at this point, 30 wins, 42 losses. This National League Central has been the cream of the crop in the National League this year. The top 3 teams in the league reside in the Central Division, with the Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Reds. Pirates have actually overtaken Cincinnati with their win last night. Garrett Cole threw 8 pitches over 100 miles an hour yesterday against the Angels. He went to 3-0 with his win. Starred at UCLA, and now he is starring on the big stage. There's been some great young pitching the last couple of years to talk about.
Yes, there has.
Strasburg and Matt Harvey and Garrett Cole.
A young man yesterday for the Braves has some good stuff. Tehran, 22 years old.
Bouncing ball up the middle, backhanded by Uglin. He sticks into the ground like a javelin. And Ramirez is going to reach on a single. Boy, no slide at all, and that might have cost the Braves an out. Ramirez is not running well.
It would have been a tough play anyway, but on the shortstop side of the bag, digs that knee right into the turf. Any chance he had of making the throw was gone once he kicked up that divot. Good way to get hurt.
And we always encourage you to replace your divots. Keep up with the group ahead of you. So that's a 2-hit game for Aramis Ramirez. And that'll bring up Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy bounced into a double play his last time up. Got one of those patented Tim Hudson sinkers right in on his hands, and he bounced it over to third. It was an easy 5-4-3 double play. And a bouncer that sneaks through this time, a base hit. So Lucroy singles. And now 2 on once again for the Brewers. Just 1 out this time around.
Yeah, Tim Hudson continues to get his ground balls. He's only allowed 2 fly ball outs. They'll make that 3, including the line drive by Gene Segura. But this time Lucroy able to find a hole in the left. Brewers with another man in scoring position. You have to cash in on these opportunities. The Brewers had a chance in the 3rd, and now here in the 4th. You don't figure Hudson to give you too many chances.
Well, here's Juan Francisco now, the former Brave. Brewers picked him up from the Braves in a trade earlier this season after the Braves had taken him off their big league roster. Francisco's overall numbers: 6 homers, 21 runs batted in. 5 of those 6 home runs came as a Brave.
Brewers are trying to get him to soften up a little bit less movement, the rotation in the upper half. Trying to have him use center field and left center a little bit more often. The home run that he did hit for the Brewers in Cincinnati was to left field.
Yeah, that was an opposite field homer off the foul pole in Cincinnati. He has enormous power. It's as much as anybody in the league. He can hit him into the far reaches of any ballpark. His batting practice is jaw-dropping. And just trying to take that to the game. I think the Brewers are like a lot of other organizations that he's been with. Started with the Reds and the Braves. They feel like, you know, he's only 25. If he can figure things out, he can be a real threat at the plate. Consistent threat at the plate. Still has a lot of holes in his swing right now. 2-1. Francisco shoots out into left center, a base hit. Ramirez is going to try to score, and he will without a throw. Ramirez is in on the RBI single by Francisco. 1-0 Brewers.
And he did just what we were talking about. Nice, soft, and easy in the upper half, and just throwing the hands of the baseball and beats the shift. Simmons playing up the middle. The 2-seam fastball didn't get away like Hudson wanted it. Didn't try and pull it. A nice easy swing right there. Those are the kind of at-bats that'll try and get you locked in. And Ramirez still hobbling on that left knee, able to score without a throw.
That is a great example of the old Francisco and what is on his spray chart throughout his career. leading to what could be the new Francisco at a base hit. There are a lot of hits out there because of the extreme shift that defenses will put on against him. So the Brewers take the lead here, 1-0. An RBI by Francisco brings up Ricky Weeks.
And the more he does that, the more holes is going to be out there for him up the middle. Simmons probably his next time up is not going to be shaded as much up the middle. Ricky Weeks has been doing that, and because of that, he's been swinging the bat well.
Now Weeks, over his last 19 games, that's a pretty good stretch, hitting .351. That includes 3 home runs. He's 20 for 57 in his last 19.
And a lot of his damage has been into center and to right field. It's no coincidence when a guy starts doing that, you know, the batting average is going to start to climb.
Ron Renicky putting Weeks in a bit of a platoon, although he's facing a right-handed starter today. He and Scooter Gennett. And I think facing the left-handers and pitchers he's had success against, right-handed pitchers, has led to this resurgence. And the other thing Renicky mentioned that was interesting is the fact that Weeks has been really working on his swing, a lot of extra hitting, a lot of early BP, and those days off have been productive as well. He's not taking days off because he's tired, but he's had to fix his swing a little bit. And to fix your swing, you got to do a lot of extra work outside of the game setting.
And you really can't do that when you're in the lineup every day. I mean, you can't swing yourself, you know, to too much before a game. You just can't do that. You can think of only one thing in the game when you're up in the batter's box, and that's the baseball. You can't think about your hands, where your feet are. Those are the things that Ricky's been doing when he's been not starting.
3 balls and a strike, 2 on. And Weeks gets jammed. A slow roller, going to be a tough play. Johnson fires in time to get Weeks. Nice play by Chris Johnson for out number 2 as we check in with Sophia.
Well, BA fans can get ready for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports, all the news and highlights you want, and shows and specials that only Fox could bring you. America's new sports network is Fox Sports 1, coming August 17th. And BA talking with Doug Melvin down at batting practice today. He praised Willie Peralta's start, made the comparison, the development of a starting pitcher, much like that of an NFL quarterback. He said you could either go the sink or swim approach like the Jets did with Mark Sanchez, or you can have a guy hold a clipboard for 2 years and allow him to develop slowly like Aaron Rodgers did with the Packers. He said he likes where Willie Peralta's at, and he was really pleased with how he was able to work his way out of jams yesterday. So I think the Brewers taking that middle of the road approach with Willie.
And it's after a night that Peralta had last night. All of the baseball operations department surfaces today, and they're more than willing to talk about it because they've certainly taken the heat with Willie Peralta. But what we saw last night is exactly what Doug Melvin, Gordash, the rest of the baseball ops department are hoping for from a pitcher who has tremendous ability.
And you get that from a young pitcher. I mean, he hasn't been pitching that long, and really showing you in 2 of his last 3 starts that, you know, he's starting to figure it out. He had a very good start in Miami, not so good in Cincinnati, or I should say in his last start. That was in Houston, but he did very well last night.
Donovan Hand on the first pitch. Bounces to Ugla, and that will end the inning. Brewers strand the bases loaded, but they score against Tim Hudson and the Braves. Aramis Ramirez with a 1-out single. Jonathan Lucroy drove one to left, and then Francisco cashes one in. fan. Donovan Hand has been impressive so far today. 4 strong innings. Got a called strike 3 on Jordan Schaefer. And then he got Upton to swing and miss. Has a strikeout against Dan Ugla as well today. 3 Ks for Donovan Hand. And here he is, Rock, through 4 innings. Just 36 pitches through the first 4 innings.
No, and you knew he was going to throw strikes. It was just a matter of whether he was going to be able to keep the baseball down. He had a very good first inning. He did go up a hit, but Lucroy threw out a base runner. A 3-batter inning, and when you get success like that, you get that confidence going. You know, Hand has been very good. 11 balls, 25 strikes, and 36 pitches, and he has a shot to go 6 today. Maybe more.
Well, this will be a key inning here as he goes against the middle of the Braves lineup. Brewers continue putting up zeros against Atlanta. Shut him out last night on a 2-hitter and 4 shutout today on a 1-hitter thus far. Hand has faced the minimum. Simmons had the base hit in the first, but he was thrown out trying to steal second. So that wiped out the base runner, and Hand has not had to deal with many behind him.
And for the record, Willie Peralta's start before last night, Cincinnati. I was confusing myself.
It's understandable.
Okay. So 2 of his last 3 have been pretty good. I should have just left it at that.
Well, if you can't confuse anybody else, you might as well confuse yourself.
Yeah, what day is it?
One ball, 1 strike. And that slow curveball. 66 miles an hour with that curveball from Hand, and it goes to 2-1.
I think that's an important pitch for him because everything else, very similar speed. The sinker, the slider, but every now and again he's going to flip that one up there. You know, that big slow curveball in the 60s, and he's able to get it in the low 90s.
2 balls and a strike. And that one's down and in. 3-1. 23-year-old Freddie Freeman missed a little bit of time in April, had an oblique injury. Numbers are very good though. 7 home runs, 48 driven in. And got him to pop up to the shortstop back in the 2nd inning. And it goes to 3-2. A lot of Braves are shaking their heads after particular swings and particular at-bats.
It looks good, you know, most of the way to home plate, but then when it gets there, it kind of has a good sink to it. And they're beating it into the ground.
Full count. And a bouncing ball to second. Weeks will gobble it up. Freeman retired.
He's just reaching for it on a sinker off the outside corner. Freeman one-handing it. And he's got good movement. I mean, he's baffling the Atlanta Brave hitters so far.
Well, it's probably the most comfortable position to be in as a big league pitcher, the underdog. You're not expected to go deep into a game. A reliever who's making a spot start, there aren't a whole lot of expectations out there, but you had a sense that Hand, he believes in his ability. We saw him a lot this spring. As Upton sends one down the left field line, Schaefer on the run. That's a fair ball, bounces off the wall, and B.J. Upton into second base with a double. So the first extra base hit, and just the 2nd hit of the day for Atlanta. And a speedy runner in scoring position.
And you see the slider from Donovan Hand. He got it down in the strike zone, but pretty much right over the heart of the plate. And good adjustment by B.J. Upton. You see him double clutch a bit, and he's able to just get it inside that left field line. A 1-out double. So Upton's starting to swing the bat a little bit better.
Runner at second, and Brian McCann at the plate. Curveball down and in. Donovan Hand and Alfredo Figueroa were the last two decisions to be made for Ron Renicky for the final roster spot in the bullpen. The Brewers ended up going with Figueroa because of the velocity. Figueroa has worked himself into the starting rotation. And I like what Donovan Hand said, though, when he left. He was sent out just before the season started. He goes, you know, I did my work. I showed the Brewers what I could do. You look at my stuff in the bullpen or in one outing, and that might not show you the ability that I have, but it's the body of work. And he hardly gave up a run this spring. I mean, every time looked just like this, where he was just mowing through the order, throwing a lot of strikes, and he made a huge impression on the Brewers coaching staff. And they told him when he left, you're going to be the first one back. Go take care of business in AAA, and when we have a need, you're coming up.
Yeah, he did what he had to do, and you know, just one of those things, a numbers situation, and here he is.
1-1 to McCann. That's in there for a strike. 1-2. Surprised him with a fastball. Got jammed. Shallow fly ball. Gomez is there. And out number 2. Boy, Donovan Hand is making some very good hitters look bad right now.
Hey, this Sunday, the Brewers take on the Braves at 1:10 p.m. and all fans in attendance get a Clements facing famous racing sausage Polish bobble. That's compliments of Clements sausage. Visit brewers.com for tickets.
Nice.
You want a polka?
Anything with an accordion in it, I'm good.
The Pivo Varsity tomorrow.
Pivo Varsity.
Miller Park.
Man, does that just put you in a good mood or what?
I know. A better mood.
Better mood. Yeah, you're always in a good mood. Here's Dan Ugla with 2 outs.
You know how to polka?
No.
No? Two-stepper, right?
Two-step. One more on the two-step.
Very similar, you know.
Isn't the waltz kind of like got a little polka influence? I've done some waltzes before.
Yeah.
Junior high dance.
Yeah. The polka is the waltz without the beer.
I see. It's not as fun. Honoring Polish heritage tomorrow at Miller Park. That'll be a great time. Pivo Varsity is Polish for Brewers, which is why the jerseys read like that. The Polish version of Service Saros Day. Remember Italian Heritage Day, they wore Barai for Brewers. Hand trying to get through 5 innings. 50 pitches right now. He's got a runner at second, the tying run with 2 away. And the 2-1 to Ugla is down and away. Ball 3.
That's where you're going to pitch Dan Ugla. Don't make a mistake middle in with a fastball. That's what he likes. He's had a rough time so far this year with that slider.
Hand struck him out in the 3rd inning. Ugla leads the National League in strikeouts with 93 now. But his 2nd game with new contacts. And that's going to skip by Lucroy. So Ugla will draw the walk. Upton will advance to 3rd on the wild pitch.
Maybe a bit of fatigue setting in for Donovan Hand. The command's not what it's been. And the first walk of the game. Activity down in that Brewers bullpen. Went with a slider on a 3-1 count. Not even close.
And Ron Renicky is on his way out with 2 outs in the 5th inning, and you can see the disappointment in Donovan Hand.
And no chance for a victory that he didn't go 5. Came close.
So Hand does a terrific job today. Gives Renicky a lot more than he thought he would. They were thinking maybe 3 innings. He's going to bring Badenhop on to face Johnson. We'll take a timeout.
Out short. Hey, enroll in a world-class experience this summer as Quick Trip presents the first year of the Brewers Baseball Academy. These instructional kit camps are coming to a city near you. Visit brewers.com/camps today.
And for the grown-ups, Brewers Fantasy Camp. Registration is underway. Go to brewers.com/fantasy camp. Call 414-321-8605. Beautiful Maryvale Baseball Park in Phoenix, February 2nd through the 9th. Super Bowl, then Fantasy Camp. Good times. New pitcher Burke Badenhop, and he comes into a situation with runners at the corners. 2 outs in the inning. And the Braves' 8th place hitter, Chris Johnson, coming up.
Yep, 36th appearance for Badenhop, a 366 earned run average. Last pitched on Tuesday against the Astros, gave up an earned run in an inning in the third of work, a couple of strikeouts. Well, Badenhop looking for a ground ball to get out of this inning.
So Badenhop, the sinker ball specialist, against Chris Johnson, who grounded out his last time up. Well, Donovan Hand, you know, the competitor in you, and you want to get greedy, let him try to finish it, have a chance to win this game. But I think Renicky, sensing that Hand was losing it a little fatigue setting in. Looked like Renicky said, I'm going to give him one more hitter to Ugla, see what he can do, and then that's it.
Yeah, got away with getting behind the count to Brian McCann, and then Ugla threw some pitches that weren't even close, and no sense stretching it. Has done a very good job against right-handed batters, has Badenhop.
Chris Johnson is in the 8th spot in the batting order for Freddie Gonzalez, but he is their batting average leader starting play today. And for a good part of the first month of the season, he was at the top of the National League in batting. There's a strike. 2-2 to Johnson.
I got the pitcher on deck. You would think that Johnson would be very aggressive. Took a fastball on a 2-1 count. You don't want to be too selective as the 8th hitter in these spots.
One with a slider. 1st and 3rd. 2 outs. And Johnson rolls it to Segura. He's got a long throw to second in time for the out. Inning over. Badenhop does the job. 1-0. The Brewers still lead. Big hand from Hand. Terrific job today in a spot start, thinking maybe 3 innings, 4 if he was lucky. He ends up going 4 2/3 today. And Donovan Hand sets up the Brewers well for the rest of this ball game. Badenhop comes on to get the final out of the 5th. Retires Chris Johnson, strands 2 base runners, and it's 1-0 Brewers as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Nori Aoki will lead off. Brewers have the top of the order. Tim Hudson has allowed just 4 hits, but 3 of those came in succession last inning, and the Brewers on a Francisco RBI single have taken the lead.
And Tim Hudson just has not been able to get much run support. We've been saying that quite a bit in these days. And not just Brewers pitchers from time to time, but the opponent. Hudson tremendous numbers in June, but no wins to show for it.
Hudson has had 4 outings where he's given up at least 5 runs. That's why the ERA is in the 4s. So he's had his moments this year as he walks Nori Aoki on 4 straight pitches. Very unusual for Tim Hudson, and Aoki is aboard with his 2nd walk. So that is now 3 walks, 1 of those intentional, and a hit batter for Tim Hudson today.
Yeah, Hudson hasn't won a game since May 5th. That was at home against the Mets. I mean, that's a while ago for a guy like Hudson, but he's pitched well.
Well, that was career win number 201 when he beat the Mets and John Neese that day at Turner Field. Segura bunts it foul. Now you look at the numbers for Hudson and you see an earned run average over 4, and that doesn't feel right. He's made 15 starts, but his hits are down compared to innings. And in the month of June he's made 4 starts, and on just 1 of those starts he gave up 3 runs. The others it was either 1 run or no runs. So he's pitching well. Braves aren't scoring and Hudson's not winning. Has actually lost 2 of those games. He lost a 3-2 game to the Padres when the Braves were swept by San Diego in San Diego. Took a loss against the Dodgers when the Braves were shut out in the month of June as well.
And as good as he's been throughout his career, the Brewers, his record against Milwaukee 4-4, but a 3.30 earned run average. So he's pitched well, but he's lost 4 games.
Segura, base hit right field. Aoki thought about going but stopped and had to avoid that line drive by Segura.
That kid can hit. I mean, just very impressive. A line drive bullet his last time up to second base. Pulls the hands in and shoots one into right field.
Aoki had to do the limbo right there. The ball took a big hop.
We talked about his approach when we came on the air today, and for a young player, I mean, he just shows incredible plate coverage. Able to inside out that one, hit it hard into right field.
He caught a tough break in the 3rd inning with 2 on. He hit a rope right at Uggla for the final out of the inning. He's got a base hit now, 1 for 3, and here's Gomez with 2 on and nobody out. Gomez pops it up, foul territory. Freeman is over and reaches up, makes the catch. Outstanding play by Freddie Freeman for the first out of the inning, and he holds Aoki to second base. Nori was ready to run. He was ready to tag if Freeman got caught up in the fence.
That was a nice job getting over to the fence. Brewers fans trying to help Gomez out, but Freddie Freeman able to grab it. Presence of mind to get it in quickly over to third base because Aoki was tagging up. That's a nice play.
Some of the benefits of being 6'5", standing tall above the fans.
Now you can go after it if it's in the seats. You can't reach out over to the field of play to interfere with a pop-up.
So 1 gone. Runners at first and second for Ramirez, who has 2 hits today. Ramos with 2 singles. He scored the lone run in the 4th. Brewers have still had their troubles with runners in scoring position. Scored just 2 runs last night, but the great pitching was able to overcome some missed opportunities yesterday. That was a big problem in Houston. Brewers were just 2 for 23 in Houston in that 3-game series with runners in scoring position. And Ramirez, that's going to get down, a base hit. Aoki around third, he'll score. Segura flies to third base. And Aramis Ramirez makes it 2-0 with an RBI single, his 3rd hit of the game.
That didn't hit it all that well, but stayed on it and strong enough to muscle it out of the reach of Simmons. Aoki read it well. He scores easily. There's that 2-seam fastball getting in on the hands of Ramirez, but fights it off and dumps it into the outfield. Aoki taken off right away. Segura able to get to third base.
And that's big. Good read by Segura. Now he's at third with 1 out. Keeps an opportunity alive to score a run on an out. First and third, 1 away. Lucroy at the plate. Strike 1. Lucroy singled in the hole between third and short last inning. Bounced into a double play back in the 2nd.
If you're Lucroy, looking for a pitch up in the zone until you get 2 strikes. Try to avoid ground ball.
Two and 1 now.
And Hudson trying to do his best to keep that ball around the knees.
Lucroy has been a good hitter this year with runners in scoring position. He's hitting .333. His overall season batting average at .276. McCann wants the slider. And Lucroy lines one foul. Got in on his hands just a touch.
And that's the one that Lucroy wanted. That slider up in the zone. Kind of a hanger, but a little bit out in front. Like to have that one back. He's thinking throw that one again.
Lucroy's been driving in a lot of runs lately. His last 25 games, he's hitting .367 with 21 runs batted in over those 25 games. Been able to raise his batting average over 60 points during that time. The 2-2, and Lucroy fouls this one in the seats down the right field line. Yesterday it was Maldonado who got the call behind the plate. He and Willie Peralta connected on a gem. Lucroy back in the lineup today. And two of the better hitting catchers in this series in McCann and Lucroy. And Lucroy chases one. Uncharacteristic of Jonathan Lucroy. Down he goes on strikes for out number 2.
And not only does he not strike out much, but he very rarely swings at pitches like that. Completely full on the pitch about a foot off the outside corner.
A reminder that today's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and abroad, ships at seas. They're watching all around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. And we welcome all of you tuning in today. Thank you for your service.
Enjoy the game. You deserve it.
Francisco takes strike one. Francisco drove in the first Brewers run back in the 4th inning. I was curious to see how the Braves would line up defensively this time around, and they're about in the same spot with their infield shift. Andrelton Simmons close to the bag at second. So there's a gaping hole over there between third and short.
Yeah, same spot, if not more of a shift. So Braves not convinced he's going to do it again.
And Hudson gets in to pop it up. Simmons will call it and catch it, and the inning is over. The Brewers get a run, however. RBI from Ramirez. 2-0 against Tim Hudson and the Braves. Adding one in the 5th, and now Burke Badenhop, who got out of a bit of a jam last inning, relieving Donovan Hand, who went 4 2/3 today, is back on the mound for a full inning here in the 6th. And we'll have Tim Hudson to lead off, the Braves pitcher, and then back to the top of the order, Jordan Schaefer and Andrelton Simmons.
I think the Brewers are in much better shape than Ron Renneke had anticipated when this game started, with Hand making his first start, not stretched out. Into the 6th with a lead, and he's only used one reliever.
And if Badenhop can get him to the 7th inning, and that puts him right back in a perfect position to use his bullpen. You heard Sophia report earlier that Jim Henderson is unlikely to pitch today. He could pitch an emergency, but they'd rather not use him. It'd be 4 days in a row for Henderson. So if it gets to a safe situation, it'll probably be Francisco Rodriguez who would be attempting his 300th career save. Got a ways to go to get there, though. Saw Michael Gonzalez loosening.
Freddie Gonzalez elected to allow Tim Hudson to lead off the 6th inning. Only down 2-0. Why do managers go to the bench right here?
Hudson slices one in the seats. Nice catch up there. Well, the final game of the series is coming up tomorrow, and don't forget that is another day game, and it's a 1:10 first pitch. 12:30 we're on the air. Our Miller Lite What's on Tap. Paul Mahalam against Alfredo Figueroa. We'll have it for you here on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Hudson can swing the bat, by the way. He was an all SEC outfielder in college at Auburn. He is no slouch at the plate, hitting .207 this year. And it might be a subtle message to his offense for Freddie Gonzalez. This is our best guy. This is our ace.
Get him some runs, right?
Going to give him a chance to win. Bouncing ball. Ramirez, nice play. He's got time. And a perfect throw. Well done. Aramis Ramirez is having a good day at the ballpark.
Just really struggling with that left knee. Not able to stay on his feet, but able to get up. Had the right guy running. Nice play by Ramirez to keep it in the glove and get a good throw to first. You'd figure Ramirez to get tomorrow off. It's kind of the way it's been going with Ron Renicky.
Ramirez just not himself this year. That knee's really given him trouble, but he has remained competitive and productive. 3 hits today for Ramirez and an RBI just a moment ago in the bottom of the 5th. 1 gone. Here is Schaefer. One of the few speed threats the Braves have. Schaefer and Simmons both run well at the top of their batting order. Braves have speed. They just don't try to steal a lot of bases. Schaefer does, but not many of the others. Matter of fact, Schaefer, he's a 4th outfielder. He doesn't play very often, and he leads their team in stolen bases.
Well, when you hit home runs like the Braves, you don't want to make outs on the bases, so you don't run. Just sit back and wait for that 3-run homer.
Justin Upton getting the day off. Schaefer gets the start. 2 left fielders named Schaefer, spelled the same way. No relation. Strike 2. Jordan Schaefer began his big league career with Atlanta. Spent 2 years with the Astros, including last season. Most games he's played as a big leaguer last year.
That just didn't work out for him, you know, in Houston. Just wasn't able to make enough contact. Well, that's changed this year.
Well, the Astros took him off their big league roster. The Braves claimed him on waivers, off waivers, I guess is the best way to put it. He went to Houston in the first place from Atlanta in the Michael Bourne trade. He's done a good job for Atlanta this year off the bench. Pitch number 7, and it's down and in. And Badenhop walks a base stealer in Jordan Schaefer. So a man on with 1 away. And here comes Andrelton Simmons. Simmons singled in the first offhand. Donovan went 4 2/3 today. 4 2/3 innings, just 2 hits.
2 hits, 1 walk, and did a very fine job out there on the mound.
Had 3 strikeouts today. And pitched from the stretch the entire way. Said he was going to approach it like a relief appearance, and he did. There goes Schaefer. Lucroy's throw to second right there, and out is the call. Wow. Jordan Schaefer gunned down on a perfect throw from Lucroy.
And it had to be. Lucroy now 2 for 2 today and throwing out base runners. And that throw was right on the bag. When you talk about putting it on the bag, that's what Lucroy just did. You can't do it any better than that. Quick transition right over the top, and look at this. I tell you, Schaefer slides right into the glove of Segura. And the baseball right there. That ball was an inch higher, he'd have been safe. Are you kidding me? That is awesome.
Look how Segura just lets the ball travel right into the slide. That is textbook. And you make a big deal out of it because a lot of guys don't do it. They'll go try to catch the ball out in front. Sometimes it can cost you an out, but Segura, bam, bam.
Yeah, that's the way you have to do it. I mean, everything had to work perfectly to get Schaefer, and Lucroy did his job, and Segura, excellent, keeping that glove on the bag.
That is just a little nuance that can turn into a lot of outs. You have to have such a great feel around the bag not to get your glove caught up in the base runner.
And you can't be afraid of the base runner coming at you. You got to have some guts to hang in there. A lot of guys will reach to avoid any kind of contact out there and then bring the glove back. You never had a chance at him if he did that.
Segura made a great peck on a short hop from Lucroy in the first inning. But that throw was right on the mark. Perfect location for Segura to make the tag. It's a big out. 2 outs, 3-2 pitch. Simmons down the left field line, foul.
Kid's been amazing, hasn't he, Segura? I mean, he does everything right. Here we are in mid to latter part of June, and he just continues to impress and get better.
And he plays with the fire, which you love. He is a winner. Had him out in front. Little pop up. Lucroy off with the mask. He's got it for the out, and Badenhop works through a scoreless 6th inning. An inning and a third today for Badenhop. 2-0 Brew Crew. Racing Sausages and Dan Patrick, he's the brat, and the Danettes. And remember, we've been talking about the hot dog, so there's a lot on the line here. Hot dog has 1 win all year, and check this out, Brock. With a late kick, the hot dog, impressive. I'm not sure who's in the Italian, but
is he even in the race?
That is brutal.
Oh, there he is.
I don't even see Italian among the finalists.
Well, I think Hot Dog finally got the message, didn't he?
Looks like Chorizo came in second, and then Dan Patrick, the brat, in third, and the Italian nowhere to be seen. Clement's famous Racing Sausages. Good to have Dan Patrick and the Danettes here today.
Can't believe they didn't let him win.
2-0. Ricky Weeks on the first pitch bounces to Ugla, and 1 away. Well, sometimes it takes a little paint swapping.
Look at this. Ray splits the seam. There you go. That's not much room in there.
splits the double team, and I think he used the momentum of the top heaviness.
I think that's what threw off the balance of Dan Patrick. The Brock.
It looked like Dan was about to go down right there, didn't it? He had a little lean going.
Yeah,
I think he had to save it.
A little wobbly.
That was fun. Here's Logan Schaefer now. Logan is 0 for 1 with a walk. He was intentionally walked to get to the pitcher spot in the 4th inning. Hit a deep fly ball to right his first time up. Got jammed, and a bouncer to Ugla makes a play for out number 2. 2 quick ones for Tim Hudson here in the 6th inning. So the Brewers are going to go to the bench here. Bert Badenhop will be lifted for a pinch hitter. Successful inning and the 3rd for Badenhop on the mound. It's going to be Caleb Gendel. And it looks like Michael Gonzalez, the former Brave, will have the 7th. Got a couple of left-handed hitters coming up in Hayward and Freeman.
We'll mix it up a little bit. 2 pitchers so far today that have very similar styles, very similar pitches, and then you mix it up and go to the left-hander.
Caleb Gendel still looking for his first major league hit. This would be quite a story for him to tell against one of the best winners in the major leagues currently, Tim Hudson. By the way, CC Sabathia won today. We were talking about potential 300 game winners. Sabathia won his 199th today. Yankees beat the Tampa Bay Rays. Sabathia is now 8-5. Mariano Rivera saved number 26 of the season, and he's going to retire. 3-1 to Gendel. Hitters count. And Gendel to left. That's down, a base hit. And there is number 1 for Caleb Gendel, his first major league hit. And it comes against Tim Hudson.
Yeah, that'll be a proud memento for Gendel. Doesn't get much better than that. Tim Hudson, first major league hit. And he's going to get the baseball. Now watch Kyle Loesch.
It's funny every time. Kyle always waits till the guy who got the hit is looking at him, and then he throws it up into the stand. But that was a decoy. He's got the real baseball. A sleight of hand. So Gendel is on the board. His first major league hit. Congratulations. He even got a tip of the cap from Tim Hudson. And it's always fun to try to pick a guy off after his first hit. So Freeman to Kyle Loesch, and then watch this. Sees if he's looking. Yep. All right. Oh, that was a trophy. Brewers have had a lot of firsts this year. Major league debuts, first major league hits.
Yeah.
Been that kind of year. Gendel is the 6th player to make his big league debut with the Brewers this season. There he goes. Pitch is down and in. Throw to second. Not in time. And a stolen base for Caleb Gendel.
Well, Hudson kept an eye on him, but Gendel able to steal the bag. And stole it relatively easily. Good jump. Brian McCann's throwing arm not what it used to be. And he's able to get second base. Now another man in scoring position for Milwaukee.
First career steal for Gendel after his first big league hit. That's a big run for the Brewers if they could cash it in. Aoki in a hitter's count, 2-0. 3 balls, no strikes.
Being very patient with Aoki today, or I should say very careful.
Aoki has walked twice. Hudson's walked 3. One of them was intentional, the one to Schaefer. There's a strike. 3-1. And 4-pitch walk in the third. He's seen 18 pitches thus far from Hudson. 3-1. Outside, ball 4. He has walked him for the 3rd time. And now 2 are on for Gene Segura.
Yeah, Hudson came into the game only 22 walks in 90 innings of work, and he's walked 4 today. Unusual for Tim Hudson. Not sure why he'd be so careful with Nori Aoki. Not a guy that's going to take him out of the ballpark. And you walk Aoki and get to one of the hottest hitters in the game, and that's Gene Segura.
So Roger McDowell, the pitching coach, joins the conversation here.
Activity down in that Braves bullpen.
Well, Gene Segura got loose for a home run yesterday, number 11 on the Powerball home run count, 2nd on the ball club. Segura gave the Brewers a 2-0 lead, and that would end up as the final. Gomez, the club leader, then Segura, Braun, Betancourt, and Lucroy. Segura came up in a very similar spot back in the 3rd inning. 2 on, 2 out, and he lined out on the first pitch. He smoked it right to Uggla. Skips it in. Nice play, McCann. Picking up a short hop, and that keeps the runners at bay. That could have affected the way Hudson pitched to Segura if that gets by him and the runners advance.
He might have been careful, bring up Gomez, who's had a tough time with Tim Henson today. It's kind of approaching 100 for Hudson at 93.
Well, Freddie Gonzalez decided to let Hudson hit last inning, trying to get a scoreless inning out of him here as Segura, a big swing and a miss. Guess that was the splitter, is that right?
I think it was a changeup. Changeup, splitter. There you see the split fingered grip. Didn't tumble like a splitter. I should say it didn't dive like a splitter, but that's what it was. I haven't thrown many of those today.
Here's the 1-1. Inside, almost hit him. Not sure how it missed him. 2 balls and a strike on Segura. Not by much.
I think he pulled the chute by the time it was by him. See, he jumps out of the way after McCann's got the ball in his glove.
He's waiting for the pain. That never came. Standing on top of the plate. Bouncing ball. Johnson to first, and it is just in time. And Hudson gets Segura and works a scoreless 6. 2-0 Brewers. We're on our way to the 7th. play responsibly. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. A sellout crowd here at Miller Park today. 41,974, and so far the Brewers playing well. It feels a lot like yesterday's game. Brewers won 2-0 yesterday on a 2-hitter, and that's where we are today as we go to the 7th inning. And with the middle of the order coming up, a couple of lefties to start it. Ron Renicky goes to Michael Gonzalez.
Yeah, 375 earned run average for Gonzalez. Took the loss on Thursday against the Astros. He gave up that walk-off 3-run home run to Carlos Pena in the 10th inning. 38th appearance for Gonzalez. He has some left-handers coming up, and that's why he's in the game. Hayward and Freeman to start the 7th.
Jason Hayward leads off. He'll be followed by Freeman and then B.J. Upton. And that ball's hit high in the air, right center field. Gomez into Aoki. It'll be Gomez to make the catch. Got it in on the hands a little bit of Jason Hayward, out number 1.
Covers a lot of ground out there in center field, to say the least. He might not get hits every day, but I'll tell you, he can help you win just with his glove and his wheels.
Well, Gonzalez did not pitch yesterday. Gave up that walk-off home run to Carlos Pena on Thursday afternoon. Tough to sit on for a day. You know, he's anxious to get back out there. He pitched for the Braves. Gonzalez has time with the Pirates, the Braves, the Nationals, and now the Brewers. Freeman's been a good hitter against lefties all season, hitting .301 this year against left-handed pitching.
He hangs right in there, not afraid to use left field. Gonzalez is going right after him with the fastball.
0-2 pitch, and Freeman fouls it away. Gonzalez also had some time with the Orioles. That's where he got to know Rick Kranitz, the Brewers pitching coach. Those two reunited here in Milwaukee. 0-2 pitch. Freeman fouls it back. 93-mile-an-hour fastball from Gonzalez.
And a pretty good hack at it, too. I mean, don't need to throw strikes. 0-2. And bounce that slider, see if you can get him to chase.
And a bouncing ball. The shift was on. Segura winds it up, throws him out. 2 gone.
Hey, come out to Miller Park on Friday, July 19th for Zubaz Palooza for just $34. Get a Lowe's outfield box ticket to the game versus the Marlins, plus a pair of Brewers Zubaz pants. Visit brewers.com/special events for details. Got the boss in the Zubaz. Very nice.
Mark Atanasio sporting the Zebra Zubaz. I like that. You might see him wearing them tomorrow if the Brewers win today. He's a very superstitious owner.
Have we decided if they are Fox Sports Wisconsin approved?
Oh, if the boss wears them, we're good.
We're good.
We can wear them the rest of the season if we want.
Doesn't matter, huh?
Doesn't matter. We're a waist up operation here. Yeah, even Nori Aoki sporting the Zubaz.
Now, if you can get Bob Uecker into the Zubaz, yeah,
you know they tried. I guarantee you that picture of Aoki and Zubaz will be on somebody's front page tomorrow in Japan.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Yep. Isn't he every day?
Pretty much. Upton takes a strike. 2-2 the count on B.J. Upton. Gonzalez trying to keep it rolling here. Started with Donovan Hand. He was fantastic. 4 2/3 innings. Bert Badenhop and now Gonzalez. BJ has one of the 2 Braves hits. He doubled offhand. It was on a breaking ball back in the 5th inning. Payoff pitch, and he fouls it away. Gonzalez spent 3 years with Atlanta. Had 26 saves as an Atlanta Brave, 07 through 09. Went to Baltimore, ended up late season trade to the Rangers, pitched in the World Series with Texas in 11. Nationals last season. Have left arm will travel.
Yeah. Gonzalez a fine year with the Nationals last year, and after a slow start in April has put together a good run and a good month and a half, except for that last outing against Houston.
Full count. Do it again. 2 outs in the inning. And Upton right off the end of the bat hits the foot of Gonzalez, and that's going to be a base hit. Oh, that's too bad. That looked like an out. Ricky Weeks was already squeezing the middle, and if Gonzalez doesn't reach out for that ball, it's going to be an easy out for Weeks.
Yep, an instinct. Just throw the leg out there, try to knock it down, and good changeup. Now you see him just kicks the leg out there. Had he not done that, look where Ricky is. He's right there. Would have been right to him.
Now Rick Kranitz out for a visit with Gonzalez, talking strategy here. You got Brian McCann coming up. This is the guy you didn't want to face, representing the tying run. And Larry Vanover is on his way out to break up the meeting. This is all scouting report here. Gonzalez against McCann. Now McCann is hitting just .147 against left-handed pitching this season. Overall batting average of .231. Just 5 for 34 against lefties.
And these two have hooked up only twice. McCann against Gonzalez 0 for 2 with a strikeout.
And all that said, McCann has the kind of power to tie this game up in a hurry. Little half swing, that's a strike. I think it was a called strike. And it's going to be 0-2 now on McCann.
Back-to-back sliders. Yeah, make a mistake, make it away, and something off speed.
Braves haven't had a whole lot of base runners today. They stranded 2 in the 5th. And the 0-2 is in the air, left field, slicing. Schaefer with the glasses on, makes the catch, foul territory. And the inning is over. Nice catch, Logan Schaefer. Gonzalez puts up a 0 in the 7th.
Willie Peralta was tremendous last night in a 2-hit shutout, and the defense behind him was just as good. So fans weighing in today on our AT&T Twitter poll with the question, which was the biggest Brewers defensive play last night? 47% said it was Nori Aoki's sliding catch to preserve the shutout. And BA, some news today also, Marco Estrada will make a start tomorrow in Appleton against Cedar Rapids at 1:05 in the afternoon. The team is hopeful he will need just one start before he will come back in the starting rotation. And guys, you talked about the Zubaz pants last inning. Well, be prepared. I hope you guys like them, because Ron Renicky and Doug Melvin were talking about maybe wearing those for a road trip. So it might be a comfy, cozy road trip for you in those Zubaz pants.
I am all in. Put in my vote, Sophia. The Brewers broadcasters check yes.
I'll tell you what, I'll put a tie on. I'll put a tie on, put the Zubaz on, and jump on that airplane any day.
Good luck to Marco Estrada tomorrow, coming back from the hamstring injury in his rehab start in the Midwest League. New pitcher rock is David Carpenter in for Tim Hudson.
Yeah, split the season last year between the Astros and the Toronto Blue Jays, and has been bouncing back and forth. Second time he's been with the Atlanta Braves this year. And another good start. I guess you would classify the start for Tim Hudson as a very good start, but again, no run support.
Yeah, tough luck once again for Hudson, and that's the way it's gone for him in June. Brewers are hoping that trend continues. Still 6 defensive outs away, and they'd love to add to their lead here. Gomez leads off, and he pulls that one foul. Carlos is 0 for 3. Final numbers on Tim Hudson. He goes 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, both were earned. Had 4 walks, 1 of them intentional. 3 of the walks to Nori Aoki. And Hudson struck out 4. On the hook for the loss. Right now you put Burke Badenhop in the winner's circle. If it finished as is. Donovan Hand started with 4 2/3. Badenhop an inning and a third.
And Badenhop very effective. He got the Brewers out of that jam in the 5th, and official scorer's discretion as to who is the most effective reliever, and Badenhop certainly would fit that bill.
Ball and 2 strikes on Gomez, with Aramis Ramirez on deck. Ramirez with a 3-hit game. Gomez would love to reach base, bring a hot bat to the plate. Carlos is the club leader in home runs. Has 12 home runs this season. There are only 8 players with double-digit home runs and stolen bases. Gomez one of them. Carlos with 12 homers, 14 stolen bases. Guys having the biggest year in that category, Carlos Gonzalez of the Rockies. 21 home runs, 13 stolen bases. That ball's hit well back up the middle, base hit. So Gomez is aboard. His first hit of the series, and that'll bring up Aramis Ramirez. And he is in our shining moment of the game, brought to you by the Marshfield Clinic. Rock 3 hits and an excellent defensive play at third.
Yeah, it seems like Ramirez is swinging the bat well last couple of days. Centering up much better. 3 hits, all singles for Ramirez. A run scored, an RBI, and made a nice defensive play on Tim Hudson early in the ball game. Need Ramirez in that lineup. Just his presence makes a little bit of an intimidation factor. You know, that home run threat in the middle of the lineup.
Well, Aramis Ramirez with the 3 hits today at the plate, presented by Wendy's. All singles, an RBI hit in the 5th. That made it 2-0. He is a hit away from 2,000 in his career. Great milestone.
Had a nice hack at that last fastball. Carpenter about 93 with a fastball. He'll throw a slider to go with it. And Freddie Gonzalez will use him in multiple innings. Back at the end of May, he threw 3 innings out of the bullpen. And Gomez looked like he wanted to take off last pitch.
Gomez has 14 stolen bases, just 3 times caught. Ramos Ramirez, year 16, 1,999 career hits. In the air, center field. B.J. Upton is back. Gomez is going to tag. Upton makes a catch. Gomez on his way to second base. In there easily. So it's an out, but Gomez advances into scoring position. Smart base running by Gomez to get a runner at second.
And not many guys can do that on a fly ball to center field. Gomez just couldn't get a jump. He would have liked to. Stole the bag. That would have put him at third base. And he gets into second easily on the fly ball.
So he is set up for Lucroy. Another run would play big here for the Brewers. Atlanta just struggling to score. Shutout yesterday. 7 more shutout innings today for the Brewer pitching staff. Jonathan Lucroy has a hit today. He's 1 for 3. He singled off Hudson back in the 4th. Well, his contributions defensively in our Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery. Twice Lucroy catching would-be base stealers of the Atlanta Braves. Both of them were significant.
And both Brewer catchers throwing the baseball pretty well. Lucroy now 8 for 30 in throwing out base runners. And not too many have stolen on either one of them lately. Lucroy upward close about 27%, doing the math in the head.
Brewers are fortunate to have 2 outstanding catchers, Maldonado and Lucroy. Both bring different talents to the field. Lucroy's the everyday catcher. He's a good defender, but a terrific hitter. The better hitter of the 2. Maldonado is a great defender and hits, has his moments. Had a home run in Cincinnati, did Maldonado. Text question today, courtesy of Ho Chunk Gaming. Brian in Wauwatosa wants to know, how often does a catcher practice the throw down to second base?
He used to do it every day when teams used to take infield practice, but nobody does that now. But yeah, you'll see Maldonado go out there. If he's been a while since he's been in a game, he'll make some throws to second. And if a guy's struggling to make throws and accurate throws, he'll work on it. But typically they don't do a whole lot of that. I know Lucroy works very hard at blocking pitches before the game. But back in the old days, you took infield practice. Both teams used to take it. Catchers would throw to the bases every day.
Lucroy pops it up. Shortstop Andrelton Simmons for out number 2. And there's always the throw down to second base every inning after the pitcher's warm-up tosses are done. Sometimes they'll just lob it out there, but if you're trying to work on something, you can
work on your footwork. Yeah,
make a peg to second base.
Yeah.
So there's always that opportunity. I've never seen a catcher throw to third after a warm-up. You know, that could be.
They do that after a strikeout.
Right.
B.J. Surhoff, after a strikeout with a right-handed batter, would throw to first base.
It's just more tradition, right? I mean, after a guy's warming up, you can throw the ball anywhere. Right. Just trying to get the infielders.
Most of my throws went to the center fielder. I'll tell you, a nice one hopper too.
There you go, Robin. Just keep your head in the game.
Wake up.
That's beautiful. Here's Juan Francisco now. Well, Francisco's been up the last 3 times with a runner in scoring position. He delivered in the 4th with an RBI single. That got the Brewers on the board. He popped up to short his last time up with 2 on. Yet another chance for the former Brave. Francisco still looking for his first Miller Park home run as a member of the Brewers. A little bit late. Good fastball from Carpenter at 95. Francisco has never homered at Miller Park. Two and one. Had a big cut.
Man, that was a nice pitch to hit right there. Down in the zone, out over the plate. That's where he likes it. It's a little bit late.
That had to hurt a little bit. McCann taking one in the collarbone. Larry Vanover goes out to the mound, gives McCann a breather. Sweeps away home plate. Respect between umpire and catcher.
He knows what it feels like.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Got a runner at second. Gomez, great speed. He should score on a base hit to the outfield. And the 2-2, and it's pulled over to Freeman. No problem for the Braves first baseman. Inning over. The Brewers strand a runner at second. Still 2-0. We head to the 8th. Well, the Brewers lead the Braves 2-0 as we head to the 8th inning. RBIs today from Aramis Ramirez and Juan Francisco. Outstanding pitching once again. Started by Donovan Hand. As you take a look at our game summary, brought to you by Toyota. Hand a spot starter today. Thought maybe he'd get 3 innings, 4 if you're lucky. He goes 4 2/3. Just 2 hits, 3 strikeouts. And Francisco and Ramirez with the RBIs against Tim Hudson.
Yeah, very important that Donovan Hand was able to get to that 5th inning, and knowing that Jim Henderson probably not available today in an emergency, I would imagine. As John Axford takes over for the 36th time. Axe has been throwing the baseball very well. A .435 earned run average. Doesn't sound all that great, but where he started the year, beginning of April, that's some pretty good pitching. 35 punch outs for Axford in 31 innings of work.
Well, Axford in that setup role today. If it stays as is, Frankie Rodriguez would get the save opportunity today. He's sitting on 299. So see if Axford can hold serve here. Bottom of the order coming up. Dan Uggla will lead off. Shadows becoming a factor at this time of the night as the sun gleams through the windows. And a swing and a miss from Dan Uggla, who has struck out in this game, leads the National League in that category. That ball kind of zips through sun and shade.
Yeah, good to have a lead at this point in the night. And Axford has not given up a run in his last 18 appearances. That covers 16 and 1/3 innings. And his last time out, a scoreless 9th inning in Houston. That was on Thursday.
2 balls and a strike. Got Uggla to start it, Chris Johnson next, and then a pinch hitter spot. Brewers won 2-0 last night. 2-0 lead today in the 8th. And a bouncing ball to short. Nice easy hop for Segura. 1 gone.
Axford throwing strikes for all of his pitches. The slider, the curveball, the fastball have all been very consistent in the strike zone. In particular, the curveball, making that fastball in the upper 90s virtually unhittable.
Chris Johnson now 0 for 2, a couple of ground outs today. Johnson was a big out in the 5th inning. Donovan Hand was taken out. Badenhop came in with 2 on. Johnson representing the go-ahead run at the time. And Johnson grounded out. In the air, center field, playable for Gomez. Axford with 2 up and 2 down in the 8th. You got to give Axe a lot of credit. This guy was down in the mouth after the first 10 days of the season, and you got an ERA over 10 right out of the gates. For a reliever, it takes a lot of work, and frustrated that he lost his closer's role so fast, and he's put his nose down and he's putting together a great run.
Yeah, things didn't go well for him, but he really didn't show it. It really didn't. I mean, he was the same guy. Kept his head up, answered all the questions, worked hard, and because of that, he's turned his season around.
The pinch hitter here is Reed Johnson, batting with 2 outs and nobody on, and the Brewers leading 2-0. One and one, chased one. Atlanta has activity in their bullpen. Jordan Walden, typically their setup man when they have leads. Well, if the Brewers can get through this series without having to face Craig Kimbrell in a save situation, that is a major victory.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
One of the best in the business right there.
That's where you want him, with his feet up on the outfield fence.
Two and one to Reed Johnson. Popped him up. Shallow right. Aoki's under it. And John Axford A 3 up, 3 down 8th. His scoreless string continues. Brewers lead 2-0.
Appearances spanning more than 17 innings, 17 and a third to be exact. And the Brewers lead this one 2-0. We're getting ready for Brewers Live postgame on the way. It's been all about pitching since yesterday, Jerry. The Braves still haven't scored.
Yeah, you got to like the way the Brewers pitching staff's been going about their job. Getting ahead of hitters, commanding that strike zone, not putting any free people on base with walks, doing a great job.
Video coordinator Joe Crawford in charge with preparing some of the pitchers and hitters in the video department, if you will, here at Miller Park. He is our featured person, if you will, for our instructional coming up after the ball game, so stay tuned for that. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Milwaukee Brewers Baseball Club and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Milwaukee Brewers. So we've got Brewers Live postgame on the way, and right now Ricky Weeks ready to step in a 2-0 ball game, Brian.
All right, Craig and Augie, thanks. And the new Braves pitcher is Alex Wood.
And making his second appearance of the series. Tossed a 3 up, 3 down inning in yesterday's ball game. 9th appearance overall for Alex Wood.
The very unorthodox left-hander for the Braves had a nice year. Wood had a strikeout in an inning yesterday. Pitched in the 8th inning as well. Well, yesterday the Brewers won 2-0. They out-hit the Braves 8-2. Today it's 2-0. Brewers have out-hit the Braves 8-3.
That'd be nice to get another run on the board. The Braves have the top of the order coming up in the 9th.
And Ricky Weeks, good start to the inning. He rips out into center field, and that's going to get by Upton. And it's going to be a double for Ricky Weeks. Boy, not a whole lot of effort there from B.J. Upton.
Well, I tell you, just kind of Cadillacing over into the gap and made no effort to cut that baseball off. I guess he didn't figure he was going to get Ricky at second anyway. It would have been a triple. He just took a nice, easy little jaunt out there after the baseball, picks it up on a warning track. Check him out if you can see him. That'll be a leadoff double for Ricky. There's a good start to the 8th.
Well, that was a great look at the squaring up of a baseball. Ricky Weeks right off the barrel, and a double for Weeks to start the 8th. Here's Schaefer now. Look at this. Right back in your living room.
Well, fastball, middle in, and Ricky able to center on it. Nice and easy, not over swinging, and as a result, nice shot you got there, my man.
Schaefer bunts it foul. 0-2 the count. Great talent behind those cameras, behind the microphones. It's Dwayne Rodriguez with that shot. He's been manning the super slow-mo camera all day, the X-Mo.
Yep. Man's that super slow-mo camera, and you know, kind of the court gesture of the press room dining table.
Serves multi-rolls as Schaefer backs out. Great crew here in Milwaukee, led in the truck by Wave Robinson and Kevin Schenk. Brewers up 2-0, trying to add one to it here. Schaefer in a tough matchup with the lefty. And he bunts it foul, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Weeks stays put. Schaefer is down on strikes. Typically the orders are not necessarily to bunt, but to advance the runner by any means necessary. If Schaefer feels like bunting is the best way to do it, then that's what he does. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that time.
Yeah, lefty versus lefty. Maybe earlier in the count to drop down that bunt might have been, you know, a better option, but Ricky's still at second base with only one out.
And Jeff Bianchi going to pinch hit. Frankie Rodriguez readying himself for a save. Bianchi has not seen the field much recently. He is 1 for 10 as a pinch hitter.
Might get a start in tomorrow's game. You got you know, the day game on Sunday that, you know, Ron Renicky ordinarily uses that as an opportunity to give Aramis Ramirez a day off. Day off tomorrow, then the team day off. Give him 2 days to rest that knee. Could be Betancourt.
With the man of many gloves, Jeff Bianchi. He was telling me he caught a couple of bullpens the other day again. So he's adding to his total. It's like a pilot getting flight miles. He said, I got 2 more bullpens. He's been catching pitchers between innings when the Brewers catcher makes the last out or is on base. Caught the bullpen of Kyle Loesch today. Said he likes it. The emergency catcher. And down he goes on strikes. So Bianchi is out number 2, back-to-back Ks. And Ricky Weeks still at second base, back to the top of the order, and Nori Aoki. Interesting day for Aoki, doing exactly what a leadoff hitter should, getting on base. 3 walks today, has a run scored. On base percentage up to .375 for Aoki. Hitting just shy of 300, 298 his updated batting average. One of the rare hitters that chokes up on the bat.
Yeah, Nori on base 3 times yesterday, all singles. 3 times today, all walks. On base 6 times in 2 games.
Remember in Little League, you'd always hear your coach get to 2 strikes. Choke up, put the ball in play. I'm not even sure kids even know what that means anymore, to choke up.
Don't have to choke up.
Into the bat, let it fly.
Yep, got the aluminum bats. They're nice and light.
Brewers need a big hit. And Aoki lashes that one foul off the Braves dugout. They put a net in front of that railing a few years back, just after the ballpark opened, and that has saved many of Shen's He wouldn't be standing there without it. Inning started with a double by Weeks. 2 outs now. One, two, and that one's down and in. 2-2 to Aoki. Seen a lot of pitches today. Nori Aoki in his 5 plate appearances.
Man, making him work, isn't he?
Two and two, and a swing and a miss. So after a leadoff double, Wood strikes out the side. K-Rod coming in, a milestone opportunity right now. He's sitting on 299, got a chance for number 300 with 3 more outs.
With a 2-0 lead, football season is right around the corners, and which Packers players are the most crucial to the team's success? Well, Paul Inman continues his daily countdown of the 25 most important players on Green Bay's current roster. Check them out each day at foxsportswisconsin.com. They're currently at number 18 with wide receiver James Jones. And we also take a look at our Feldco All-Star voting. Don't forget, Brewers.com. Vote Brewers. Voting ends July 4th.
Now Gene Segura, Carlos Gomez, Ryan Braun, all on the list. Braun with that thumb injury on the DL, certainly questionable for an all-star appearance. Hoping to see Segura and Gomez at this point. Well, Rock, here is Francisco Rodriguez, our Columbia St. Mary's save tracker. 299 career saves. He has been waiting a long time for this opportunity, and it is right here in front of him today.
It would become the 25th pitcher in Major League history to get to 300. He tossed a perfect 8th inning in last night's game and struck out a couple of batters.
First man up, Jordan Schaefer, top of the order for the Braves. 2 runs to work with for K-Rod, and as he has been doing all season with the Brewers, he has come out aggressive throwing strikes.
Yeah, with all his pitches too. Breaking pitch, the change up, they've all been for strikes.
Schaefer, little jam shot, got to hurry. Segura, bare hands, throw in time. Gene Segura.
Yeah, it never ends, does it, with that guy?
Put another one on the highlight reel on a very fast base runner coming out of the left side of the box.
Well, you can tell when a player likes his own play and is impressed with himself when you get the reaction that Segura just did after making that play. Barehanded, funky spin on that baseball. Look at the throw. I mean, that's the incredible part of his game. Look at the throw. Look how much is on it and how accurate it is. And it had to be because Jordan Schaefer can run. He liked that one.
All smiles for Segura. Well, he is not only playing at an all-star level. You could start talking about Segura at an MVP level, playing the position of shortstop as well as he is with all of the offense that he's adding. Well, this kid is something else.
He just continues to amaze you. Just when you think he can't do anything else, he pulls off a play like that. Can't tell you how difficult that is with the way that baseball was spinning. Very easy to drop it.
One gone. Here is Andrelton Simmons. And a bouncer foul. Now, when Frankie Rodriguez was traded from the Mets to the Brewers back in 2011, he was the Mets closer, ended up as the Brewers setup man, part of their division title year. He was at 291 career saves. 300 saves just felt like an afterthought at that point. But here we are 3 seasons later, and he's just now getting there. As Simmons drives out one deep to left. Logan Schaefer looks up, and it's off the top of the wall. Simmons on his way to second. He falls down. Segura's throw, the tag, and he's safe. Francisco dropped the ball. Almost a spectacular play for out number 2, but Francisco could not hang on to the baseball.
Well, what a throw by Gene Segura. That was a tremendous throw over to first base. But first of all, Schaefer plays that one beautifully off the wall. And knowing that you can't make any outs in the bases down by 2, Simmons decided to turn around. It looked like he was going to be able to make it. Didn't miss a home run by much. But Schaefer plays it perfectly, bare hands it, gets it into Segura, and check that out. Ball's on the ground, never had it. Not sure why he turned around, just playing it safe, and almost cost him an out.
Well, you see the collision at first base, like a catcher at home plate, and the ball just popped out.
Yeah, well, Francisco did the best he can. That ball got to him. He dropped the tag and just knocked it out. Nothing you could do about it.
Well, that brings the tying run to the plate now. So here's Hayward. Runner at first, 1 out. And Hayward takes a strike. That'll be a single for Simmons. Excellent play by Schaefer. That's a good eye. Schaefer is the reason why the Brewers had a chance at an out at first. Strike 2.
And look at a high changeup that Simmons hit off the wall and left. An 0-2 count to Jason Hayward. And be careful with that pitch. You throw it, put it in the dirt.
No balls, 2 strikes. K-Rod with a runner at first, tying run at the plate. And Hayward rips one, center field. Gomez, he is there. Out number 2. Hit it hard, but right at Carlos Gomez.
And a little bit too good of a pitch on 0-2. Brewers fortunate there that Hayward didn't get under that one a bit.
And now this sellout crowd comes to their feet. K-Rod is an out away from save number 300. He would join Jason Isringhausen and Hall of Famer Bruce Sutter. Simmons takes off. And the pitch is down low for a ball. Freddie Freeman, a dangerous hitter at the plate, and he has had a knack for the dramatic lately for Atlanta. Freeman had a walk-off home run on Monday, had a walk-off single with the bases loaded Saturday against the Giants this past week. 2-0 the count. Got B.J. Upton on deck. It's tough to imagine a scenario where you'd pitch around Freddie Freeman, but to put the tying run aboard. But obviously the better matchup for K-Rod, notwithstanding, is B.J. Upton next.
Well, you make Freeman hit your pitch. Don't give it to him. 2-0. And he didn't.
Throw him a curveball, and Freeman swings at it. 2-1. Only see that good hook from K-Rod.
Trying to start that bat early to knock it out of here.
The 2-1. Freeman, a bouncing ball foul, and it's 2-2 now. He threw him a changeup that time. Only Mariano Rivera and Joe Nathan have more saves among active pitchers than Frankie Rodriguez. Two outs, 2-2 count. Francisco Rodriguez, a milestone save, number 300, and does it with a strikeout as the Brewers shut out the Atlanta Braves 2-0. Living up to his nickname. Save number 300 comes on a K for K-Rod.
Well, he fell behind 2-0. Wasn't about to give in to Freddie Freeman. A couple of breaking balls, and here's a changeup to end it. Number 300 for Frankie Rodriguez. Congratulations to him. And the Brewers with back-to-back shutouts against one of the best teams in the National League.
Well, what a great moment for Francisco Rodriguez. That is a number he has been chasing for a while. For the last 3 seasons, he has finally gotten there. And he joins Bruce Sutter and Jason Isringhausen now for the all-time saves. Tied for 23rd all-time. Brewers win. Burt Badenhop the winner. K-Rod the save is 6th of the year. And we check in with Craig Kashawn. It's time for Brewers Live.
Boy, how about the pitching over the